Hello, welcome back. This is A Course in Miracles, 365, Awakening to Love. I'm Reverend Tomas Garza, and where we find ourselves here in this extraordinary thought system, this self-study course, where we find ourselves is in the midst of a section known as the Manual for Teachers. If you don't consider yourself a teacher, I want to invite you, as Jesus invites all of us, to reconsider what that means. It is not as though you have to hold yourself out as a spiritual teacher, as I do. You don't have to hold yourself out as a mentor or a minister. You don't have to have the designation of reverend or any other degree. You don't have to have that in order to teach. What I mean by that is that we're always interacting with each other. So, what are you teaching? What are you showing people? What are you giving them? That's another way of looking at what are you teaching them? Because each and every one of us is both a teacher and a learner. I am a teacher, I'm also a learner. I am a student of this course right along with all of you. I just so happen to have been specifically instructed to teach this course. And, well, I'm doing that. So more about that in a couple of minutes. But we all teach and learn simultaneously. An example that I like to use here is imagine that you're going to walk to the park. Let's say there's a park right down your street, is full of people, and you walk and you're happy and you smile and you say hello to everybody. Right? You are extending kindness. You're extending cordiality, right? You're putting out that vibe. And how will people react? Well, they're most likely to smile and say hello back to you, aren't they? Now, if they're having a particularly bad day, they might not say anything at all, or they might go grumble to themselves, put their eyes down and walk away. But that's their reaction. Most likely, people will respond positively. Now, on the other side here, let's say you walk out with a scowl on your face. You are the one that is grumpy, and you go to the park anyway, and you put that vibe off. You put down the scowling persona, and you go forth sneering at people or just brooding to yourself. At best, people are going to want to move away from you. And if it's really bad, someone might say something. So, what we're putting out there matters. We're always teaching and we're always learning. So, if someone else comes to the park, it's the same thing. Right? How would you react to someone who is clearly happy and smiles and wishes you good morning, as opposed to how would you react to somebody who's scowling? They don't have to tell you off. You can gather from their energy that they would certainly like to, right? So we're all teaching. This manual is for everyone. Now, in this, it talks about a teacher of God. Well, it applies nevertheless to each and every one of us. You may be a student of A Course in Miracles. A number of you that tune in from Enlightened World Network are long-time course students, and maybe you've just tuned in on my YouTube channel. Maybe you are a long-time course student as well. So all of this is appropriate for beginners and experienced students alike, because the experienced students need to hear something again and again and again until we really get it, right? And the people that are just starting out, or even those who have not picked up this course, but you're curious about it, then that is also a beautiful place to find yourself. This material applies to all of you. It's universal, which means you're going to hear what you need to hear, what you are meant to hear from each and every one of these videos, including the present, which is all about judgment. Oh, yeah. Shall we talk about judgment? Juicy. Let's do that. The numbered question is question 15. Is each one to be judged in the end? Oh, how about that? Is each one to be judged in the end? Yeah. Indeed, yes. That's how Jesus starts off the commentary. Of course. And why would we want it otherwise? Now, why am I so excited about that? Well, I was raised to think of judgment and the last judgment in a very, very different way. I was raised in two fundamentalist Christian churches. One, my parents left. I was about 8, I would say. And the other, I left when I got my driver's license and decided that Sunday school was no longer where I needed to be. So I am well versed in the punitive version of Last Judgment. I am well versed in the exclusivity of popular versions of the Last Judgment, where a certain amount of people are good to go and everybody else is royally fucked. I mean, that's the message that's being conveyed, isn't it? So, what do you need to do? And how do you need to conform to somebody's standards of behavior in order to be among those select few? Now, if you don't at least think about, is that even plausible? Then all right, so be it. But you may have not been able to swallow that, and perhaps you're not able to swallow that right now. I was one of those kids that thought a lot about it, and I was one of those kids, by the way, in Sunday school. I hope I appear nice and cordial and all that fun stuff here as an adult. I'm 50 years old, so I certainly hope I do. But as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid, I asked questions in Sunday school that the adults could not answer. And when I began studying this course, when it found me, which by the way was 2013, it instantly began to confirm for me that I was not completely off track in asking my adult leaders in fundamentalist Sunday school, how can perfect love ever judge and discriminate? Got an answer for me? And well, that's just what it says here. Yes, I don't accept that answer. Didn't then, and of course, eventually, in order to preserve the common harmony of the group, I would shut my mouth, but I don't blame any of these adults who saw me walk in for thinking to themselves, oh crap, him again? What I do wrong to deserve this? A little bit of experience from this lifetime for me. What the Course confirmed for me is that there is no sin. That the judgment, the last judgment, is that we are perfect just as we were created, just as we are. We are at home in God. We have never sinned. Guys, oneness means one. Each and every one of us is the extension or thought of God. The Son of God is a term that we use. This course uses a lot of Christian language like Holy Spirit, Son of God. And if you look deeper, it's very, very full of the influence of Buddhism and Eastern philosophy. The two thought systems that we choose between, one is known as the ego, which is a very familiar term for students of Buddhism, isn't it? The other is the thought system of the Holy Spirit that this course presents. And what's very important that we all understand is this is universal. It is not a religion, because this is a self-study course. Course in Miracles is not a religion. There is no behavior that's required of you by a church body or a temple or a restrictive sangha if you're a Buddhist or anything like that. It's not a religion. It's a self-study course. Why? Because our spiritual path is our own walk. Yeah, it's shared, but here in the world where we have bought into the ego thought system of being an individual, we need methods that work with us where we are. Right? Because what we're all about in spiritual practice, whether it's a Course in Miracles or something else for you, is undoing the illusion of separation. The final judgment we should be excited about. It's simply a statement of who you are. So along the way, when we talk about judgment, the Course says quite a lot about allowing your inner teacher to judge for you. Can each of us say that we see all ends, past, present, future? That we know exactly what to do and what to say in the present moment that will have a maximal positive beneficial impact on every living thing, past, present, and future, which, by the way, are all occurring at once. We only experience time as linear. So in the present moment, can we know all ends? And when you honestly answer no is up to you. At that point, we're invited, whether it's right now or whether it's 1,000 years from now, I don't know, to allow your inner teacher to judge for you, because your inner teacher does know all ends and knows exactly what is best for all. That's what your inner teacher sees. So here in A Course in Miracles, people take the voice for God or the universal inspiration, the Holy Spirit. And here in question 15 in the manual, the voice for judgment, in other words, the voice for the final judgment of God, that you have never sinned, that you are perfect and healed and whole. We take this voice as our inner teacher. Now you can take another guide as your inner teacher. So when I say inner teacher in almost all of these videos, that's what I'm referring to. Call it your higher self, because the Holy Spirit actually is your higher self with a capital S. It's that part of your mind, of you, that knows, just knows. So when we allow ourselves a moment to think about it, why wouldn't we trust our inner teacher? Why wouldn't we actively seek to let our own judgment aside It's a powerful prayer and a powerful practice to ask for help in setting all of our judgments aside. We're not instructed to do that in the world. I wasn't instructed to do that in fundamentalist Sunday school. That message was all judge, 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 judge. And we're perfect because we go to this particular building situated in this particular place at a particular hour of the day, on a particular day of the week. And we do it at this time, and anyone else, I mean, it may sound laughable right now, and years after the fact, it does to me. However, if you're in the midst of that, it's not laughable at all, is it? Because we make this whole thing real. Here is the crux of this, is we've made all of this. We heap all of our crap and suffering upon ourselves. It is not foisted from us from without. We are not victims of the world that we see. We made it. Guess what? We have the power, simple decision, to unmake it. This is where we ask for help, because we've so bought into all of our fabrications that we cannot see. We, at some point, have to be adults on the path, don't we? And admit that we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to say and to whom. We don't know how to bring about maximum benefit for all living creatures, for all things, for the Son of God, past, present, and future. The all. We do not know, so we ask. Very, very powerful. And we're assured here in the Course that we will be shown. Our job? To relax and trust. Trust that we will be shown and continue to do our work here in the present moment. None of this says neglect all of your worldly responsibilities. Of course not. Just don't see them. We're invited to see them differently. So we don't, with practice, see them the same way. If you have had some practical hands-on experience with this, you'll know that it is a very powerful shift. That if you haven't yet, you will. And it's entirely up to you as to how soon in time that begins to happen. And it starts with the present moment choice of the thought system of the Holy Spirit instead of the thought system of the ego. This course is one way to gradually leave the ego aside, to begin to unmask it and realize that, oh, we can just leave this aside. We don't have to brutalize it or kick it in the face like that t-shirt that people love. Kick fear in the face. Well, if that works for you, fabulous. I've got a different way that you might look at that, and that is you don't have an opponent. So why make one when one is not there in the first place? This course is about bringing around a 180 in the way we think, in the way we see ourselves and the world, and everyone in it. It's nothing less than that. So what we're given, because our resistance is so strong, is we're given a gradual curriculum and self-study without pressure and guilt being heaped on from an apparently outside body or an apparently outside clergy that says, well, in order to be a good boy or girl, you have to do all of these things. And when that little basket comes around, you know what to do. Don't you? So, well, we're all adults. Coercion doesn't work, does it? When your mom told you you absolutely had to do something or said, don't do this, what do you want to do? The exact opposite. So, this curriculum invites a different point of view. It's about changing your perception. Can this appear to take a long time? Sure. Of course. Of course it can. However, I do want to share with you that you have resources and help available. You have human teachers and instructors available. And most importantly, you have your inner teacher, your guide available. Or if you have more than one, great, your guides available. The important point is that you're not attempting to judge yourself. We might judge rightly in a certain situation, but sure as hell, the next situation that comes up, we're going to make a mistake. It's about setting our judgment aside, not judging for ourselves, but allowing our inner teacher to judge for us. This, in time, leads us to this final judgment and to our realization of this, our living, breathing experience of this. And this is what spirituality is about. It's not about just understanding the theory and the metaphysics and the ideas. That's important, sure. But is that everything? Oh, no, not at all. It's about a living, breathing experience. And I invite you to experience this for yourself. This is why I'm here with the microphone and the camera on, to invite you to do the deep work and to reach out for help. Because, yeah, is it scary? Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Of course there's some butterflies and some nervousness, because we have to admit that we've made some mistakes. They're instantly forgiven and overlooked. So I invite each and every one of you to reach out and ask for help. From my own standpoint here in the world, you know what to do. Reach out to me or reach out to your teacher, your guide or guides. And if you don't have one, that's absolutely fine. It's a great place to be in today's day and age because everything's accessible. So think really, really deeply and ask really, really deeply what resonates the most with you. And I invite you to consider in that discussion that you're having with yourself, I hope, what can I see myself applying? What can I actively apply right now? That's where the action is. Will I do it? Or does it just sound cute? Really, good question. Good question for self-examination, because each and every one of us, yes, will be judged in the end, and it's not fearful. So I hope that you take heart in that. I know that a number of you have known this, what Jesus is saying, deep down for a long time. So may today be the day that you begin to take some action on that. Yeah, let's close with that one. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. And well, we'll be back here because there are a lot more lessons to come. It's a gradual program, remember? So, yeah, go forth, and I'll see you next time.